second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. How about the minutes?
There was 3 sets of minutes. I found one and it's a typo.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Where Myron's speaking, it first quotes that he wants 1550.
So this would have been the regular meeting.
Yep, and then if you go down a little further, it puts it in at 1500 for this year.
But I think it should be 1550, correct?
Yep,
Okay, I'll fix that.
that is the only thing that was brought to attention.
1500 was last year's. Okay, so I'll put 1550.
Right?
Right there.
Right there.
All right,
You found it.
fixed.
That's your motion?
That is my motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Call for a vote.
Tippit, aye?
Seaman, aye.
Bulls eye.
Good enough. Okay, Veterans Affairs, right on top there. If you look at that, well, you got it too.
Yep, I got it.
Sheet, we have got.
I give you all the same.
He's got it all
Excellent,
set up.
excellent. Not used to it?
Well, we're starting fresh.
That's awesome. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the Veterans Affairs?
I will make the motion to approve the Veterans Affairs Quarterly Report.
I will second the motion.
Okay, I will call for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Bulls eye.
How many you want initial?
Just the one, and then it folds in third. I can get it ready for you.
Would you? You got one printed?
Yep,
Okay,
I'll do all mine folded for you.
okay, yeah, why don't you, yeah. All right, discuss general assistant and approve quarterly report.
I bet I already went through it. Yep.
So can I get a motion to approve the general assistant's quarterly report?
I'll make a motion to approve the general assistant's quarterly report.
I will second.
Okay, call for a vote on that.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Bulls eye, sorry.
Done. And we got recorders. He's been busy too. Can I get a motion to approve the county recorder's report of fees and the collection per report?
I would make a motion to approve the recorder's quarterly report.
I would second that motion.
All right, call for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Bulls eye.
Okay, the IRM plan. We don't have that, do we? No, we don't.
I didn't see that.
It's, when he was in here and you guys approved his plan,
Yeah,
there was an old resolution from 2015, so I would like to amend that resolution and have it be a fresh one. So it'll be number 2524, and it's basically just authorizing us to adopt the revised IRVM plan.
okay. You guys understand that?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember we talked about
And
it.
I may have forgot to print that one.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I'd make a motion to accept the approved resolution 25-14, amending resolution 1531, adopting the IRVM plan.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
I will call for a vote by name.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Bulls eye.
Okay. And that was in my folder here
There you go.
to acknowledge. to acknowledge Michelle Sutton's resignation of Benton County Rural Access Hub, and that was May,
I'm reading it here. May 16th,
okay?
same day as mine.
I would move to accept Michelle Sutton's resignation effective May 16th.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right, call for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Vols, aye.
And we got Gary Benson.
He will be done on April 29th. He was doing, yeah.
He was doing drives for us, so Aaron Geyer's gonna took over the drives.
I would move to accept Gary Benson's resignation as of April
29.
29th.
Nice.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
call for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Vols, aye.
Haley, do you need the original?
No, I'll just have him initial one of these.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, discuss and approve appointing Glenda Shipley to the EMS Advisory Council to replace Corey Raines while he's on leave.
We have a letter from both subjects here.
Yep.
I would move that we appoint Linda Shipley to the EMS Advisory Council as Corey Raines is not going to be available.
I'll second.
Okay, call for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Vols, aye.
Discuss and approve authorized chairman's signature of the letter of support for home buyers assistance program through East Central Iowa Housing and Trust Fund. I think you did that very well.
Can I read it? Or not? I don't know.
You can read it. How's that sound?
All right. Thank you for giving the Benton County Board of Supervisors an opportunity to demonstrate its support for the East Central Iowa Housing Trust Fund's home application. We understand the application will propose to provide down payment and rehabilitation assistance to a minimum of 5 first-time home buyers in the ECI-HTF 4-county area. We recognize it is very difficult for a first-time low to moderate income home buyer to purchase a home that does not require some work. That is what makes the ECI-HTF home application so important, because it would not only provide down payment assistance, but it would also help with the rehabilitation of the home, if it is needed. The combined assistance makes it much more feasible for a lower income, first-time home buyer to purchase a home without the burden of knowing that they will need additional funds in the near future to conduct necessary repairs and home improvements. We also appreciate that the improvements will positively impact the surrounding neighborhood and community. Thank you again for giving us the opportunity to demonstrate our support for the home buyer application. We applaud your initiative and look forward to our continued partnership and learning about this impact of this grant, if awarded.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve me signing this?
I will make the motion to approve the authorizing your signature on the letter of support for home buyer assistance program.
I will second that.
Would it be better if all three of us sign it?
Well, you could just put
I
it
think you
underneath if
could.
you want.
Okay, can I revise your
Certainly,
motion?
yes, you may. To all three signatures on, instead of just the chairman's signature, all three supervisors will sign the letter of support for the home buyer association, assistance program.
Okay,
I will second the amendment.
okay, call for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Vols, aye.
Can I have you reprint this with,
Yep, with all three.
yeah,
I'll have Alicia bring it because she's coming over here.
okay. Cool. We're running out of things to do. Reports.
Last week I had, well, we went to Farm Bureau. We'll let the chairman cover that. I had the health board Zoom meeting, 7 o'clock Friday morning. They're continuing their work in the county. They do not believe that at this point, without further investigation, that they wish to supervise the mental health advocate. That will remain with Dave for the time being, until we can do some more work with them to see if they can work that in with theirs. Last night, I attended with Tracy the conservation. We had a budget meeting with them. There was no action taken in a budget meeting. And then their regular meeting, very busy bunch. One of the big things, and I know we've talked about it once, was the Wildcat dedication to the Wildcat, to their new piece of the Wildcat Park. Very nicely done. That covers my meetings.
I just had the Farm Bureau meeting that we all attended. I wanted to attend the Historic Preservation meeting. Unfortunately, I got that email on the same day as the meeting. And there was a Zoom and I wasn't able to get in.
No. Are they having another one tonight?
I don't know about that. The last I heard,
They
they wanted to schedule something in May, and hopefully I'll have enough time.
I think we just posted an agenda for today. Robert sent it to me.
I've got it down here, I just put it in. And I can attend it, they put it down
7.
at 7 o'clock tonight here, and then one on May 15th.
May 15th?
It's a short notice, so I can definitely do the one tonight.
That would be good, and I'll make sure that I'm on the 15th.
And I did not find anything from the supervisors that appointed the courthouse clock tower committee. So I don't know if you guys wanted to address that before it starts to be implemented back in. I know we talked a little bit, but
I kind of think we should,
I mean, because this has been ongoing for how many years now?
yeah. We should have a committee there. Seems like kind of our point should probably be Rick Wood. He's been in contact with the folks working on the clock.
And he'd be the one that has to help him get up in there.
How many people,
I mean, I don't know how soon they're coming, but we could maybe appoint or talk to the historical society. And certain individuals possibly.
I see they've got it on their agenda,
Mhm.
so we'll talk to them about that tonight and see what their timeline is.
Yeah.
I assume there's somebody there who's been talking to them also, but I don't know that.
Well, I know Terry Hurdle used to be big in that committee, which he's not a supervisor anymore. Yeah, because originally it was supposed to be all funded by grants and stuff, well. That's just what I gathered. It went back to like 2013, 14.
Does somebody know, do they have a due date when they're gonna bring it back?
I was told last week it's in June now,
That's the last I've been told. Sometime in June.
and they're gonna want a
Hopefully it's this fiscal year to pay the rest of it.
lift or a crane or something to get this up there.
Hopefully it's dry.
Yeah. Keep it off our cement that we just have lifted.
No, I haven't been around, I guess I was at the courthouse this morning. I didn't see nothing. Did Randy start
I
Monday?
haven't seen him doing any work.
I mean,
Nobody on
I
the
haven't-
outside?
I haven't seen it, but I mean, it
Okay,
seems like there was holes
Just the cement
drilled,
work.
but that's it.
okay, no. He was supposed to start on a tower Monday. But I can understand this wind, you can't be putting scaffolding or anything up in the wind, so. I'll let you address that tonight at the meeting.
Okay,
Okay. I guess the only thing I would touch on a little bit on the conservation side, last night, I personally am really happy with the way they handled the roundhouse, the way things are progressing there. I don't know if it's nice to call it the tree demolition derby, or they really cleaned it up. I think it looks really nice. They got it seeded now. Do you remember how many pounds they said? It was astronomical
5,700 pounds of
Yeah.
seed.
Cool.
that they broadcast on top of the ground to get things growing again.
Right.
And they threw out the dollar figure of $20,000 in chemicals for killing brush.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
trees coming back to grow.
Trees
Since
coming
they're all
back.
ground off flush with the ground.
Right.
They're gonna let them come back. And they are right now putting out for bids for the tree canopy, the new trees. And it sounds like some of the trees, they're even planning on that's gonna be big enough that they'll use a tree spade to put them in.
Well,
So
man,
there ain't
so they're
no-
getting 15, or they're getting some pretty good sized.
Yeah, there ain't gonna be no spindly,
Right. 4-year-old trees, usually gonna have some years on them.
yeah.
Okay.
So they're in the process of getting bids out for that, and then it sounds like they're gonna probably plant them this fall.
It's a good time of year to do it.
Yeah.
Did they say what kind they're getting? I've got to replace trees in my own yard and I'm scared because everything's got a disease anymore.
Yeah, no, they never said.
I'm sure that you looked into that.
They also reported, because we've had a lot of activity in the ditches, cutting trees, and they reported good cooperation between everybody involved in that, and that if you see them out spraying, they're testing for a month. They're not spraying any chemical, so people don't get excited that they're wasting chemicals.
That's good to know.
They got a new truck.
Okay, yeah.
They just started, I guess, this week, I think,
Yeah.
yesterday. And of course, you know how it is, new trucks, fittings are leaking everywhere.
Right.
So,
Well, it's wise that they're doing that.
Yes.
I mean, that's smart, instead of filling it up and giving it a shot and having all that wasted. Oh, that's a good idea.
So if folks see them out spraying here for the next few weeks, it's just water.
Just water. Good to know.
Well, there's lots of piles out and about for the brush they've been clearing.
so what else we got?
That updates me.
I kind of waited because I had one department head couldn't come till around 10, so I was trying to make it work.
Good.
My 11 o'clock conference call just called me before the meeting and canceled it. So I said, okay. That works for me.
So how's things going, Sheriff? How's that? We'll kill some time that way.
Things are going good, I think. Got 2 of our vehicles built. They're working on 2 more. Still waiting on our camera system. That's not gonna be, they pushed that back a little bit. It's coming from Taiwan or something. So
Before the tariff.
it's gonna be middle of May now.
Is that the one we just paid the,
Yes.
and they were persistent. They were like, they thought I was gonna FedEx them the check, and I'm like, we don't even have a FedEx near us.
They thought you were gonna FedEx in the check?
Money order?
ACH, yeah. So I had to like authorize different things for them.
Say, aren't they?
I'm
isn't
like, we're
the-
good for it.
What'd you say, which one?
The $92,000 one last week we just paid.
Oh, yeah, that was, G-Tag.
Okay,
G-Tech, yeah.
yeah.
Not
that's the-
ACH.
That's the
ACH
one
is
that-
the nurse contract we have.
Okay,
You say, isn't G-TAC, aren't they built in Minnesota? You, up around the Twin Cities,
Yeah.
that'll be a benefit.
What else? Getting our new guys trained up. That's going well.
How many you gotta send to the academy, Dave?
Just one.
Just good for you.
Yep, just one. And he's set to go,
May, sometime in May.
Oh,
We just
yeah.
did his PT test yesterday and passed it.
Coming right up.
yep,
Good.
we were able to get him right in, so that's good too.
Should. Mark?
Reports, I don't really have anything,
Okay.
same old.
We might as well recess for a while. Haley?
I'm fine with that, I mean, because your budget work.
Derek,
Yeah?
you're our last hope.
Oh, nothing really. It was just busy and something new every day.
You want me to give an update on the payroll stuff?
Sure.
So last week, we had our first pilot test run, and we assigned so many people to be doing it in the new system, and then we compared it to our regular system. And then next week, we're gonna do another pilot test, adding a few more in. It's just the configuration process is timely, and getting all the DOT codes for the engineer, those that are exempt employees, non-exempt. So that's why we're meeting with the department heads today, to kind of show them how they clock in and out. We have 2 iPads instead of a time clock, one for the sheriff, one for the engineer's office. And that's how they code in and out. And then they'll be able to see like their vacation summary, their comp time, all that right up front as soon as they log in. So I think it's gonna be nice. It's just getting everyone trained and familiar with it.
When it's all done, you guys will be masters of it.
Well, at this point, every department head is
They'll be
in
a
charge
master.
of their own employees before it gets to our office. They have to go in and authorize approval. And I know, Mark, you participated in this last test run.
Yeah, we have just one part-time employee that's using it right now. She's just using her phone
Yeah.
because she's
And-
about playing, so.
And it is an option if they want to use their phone, but at this point, we're not forcing them to.
So they can each employee can access their information
Yes, we
without
give it-
calling
it's-
you or anybody else to see
Yep,
what's
it's a
going on.
specific login.
Well, that's
It's
nice.
specific to that employee and their user, or they have a assigned
So
number.
that should take a lot of burden off
It's
of
gonna be nice.
you guys, yeah.
Yeah, because before, say, the sheriff made an adjustment on their timesheet, and it gets to me, well then, we get asked, why'd you change this or that? So that communication part will be already taken care of before it comes to our
Before it
office.
comes, perfect.
I like that.
Yeah.
And you
I think
guys
Shelby
like,
did you have somebody in the pilot test last time too? For
We
the
have 3.
3,
Yep.
yeah. So that's kind of what we did, we assigned some of them and they're doing it daily right now, just to see, if, you know, kind of get some feedback, what we can do more or not.
you and your folks like the format it's set up in, and it-
It was a lot of work doing the background, all the configuration. We've been working on it quite a while, behind the scenes, so now's the time we need to start getting everybody
see if you
trained.
got a ball. Perfect.
Yeah, because I think we'll go live in June.
Nice.
Yeah.
June, not July.
No, it's gonna be this fiscal.
Okay.
But we can
That's-
pay it in
that's pretty quick.
increments, so we have it budgeted for it.
Well, we're all caught up. Shelby, do you want to give any updates? I touched on the roundhouse for the public.
Yeah, front house is moving along. I'm trying to think of all the other things.
Put you on the spot.
I know, right? I guess it depends. Are there any specific questions or things you want us to cover?
Park's open for camping,
They're open.
they're open.
Yep, they opened the gates this morning.
Is that early? Or is that normal?
That's normal.
Is
Yeah,
it?
Roughly second week of April,
Okay.
yeah. And all the water's on and potable, and water test came back good, and we're ready to rock and roll. Yeah.
Bruce asked what kind of trees you were thinking about planting there at the roundhouse.
So it's a mix of what ECOP will allow us to plant, but we have priority picks.
Okay.
So it's still gonna be a variety of like hardwood natives, and then we have a handful that we've obviously kept there. We expect some, natives to keep up there, but I can actually share with you.
Are there any that are hardier and faster growing besides a maple?
I mean, there are some, we did have soil samples taken too to ensure that we're kind of doing what's best for that area. There's a lot of foundations and stuff too we got to look around.
Did they have maples on the list of available trees? Because when I did it for the city of Norway, they wouldn't let us plant
I
maples
don't
because of
think
the
so, but.
possibility of diseases.
A lot of the grants I've applied for, it's, you gotta be like 20% or less of one species.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, and now we're going back and forth on that. So they have a specific list, so obviously all the oaks, some hickories, plums, some pine, dogwood, just throwing out some random stuff. And then per what we found, our preferences, we're looking at white oak, bur oak, a handful of oaks, Kentucky coffee trees, some hickories, buckeye, serviceberry, some red buds, stuff like that. And then we have a tiered. So we took their list and then just kind of tiered it down for preference.
Got some quick growing ones on there.
Yeah. And then we can always plant some additional, or if a volunteer group or something, if it works with our plan and for vegetation and stuff, we can always plant additional, but
Whatever you want.
for what the grant's gonna cover in the bid process.
Yeah. I knew they were specific what they allowed, so.
Yeah. The list is not that big, of options to pick from.
Did you have to have a diagram, a map as to what tree was planted where?
We will for some specific ones that we have in mind, or if we, get some of the bigger ones, those will obviously be placed, and then, the plan is to go out and stake them with the name.
Oh,
When the
okay.
contractor comes in, we know what's going where, and then they also have to like take a picture of it and say what they planted there, and it's GPS located, so that way we, double checking, but
Yep.
it's a whole process.
Yeah, there was a lot of paperwork involved
Yes.
with that.
Yes.
Yes, I remember. I think I still have it on my computer, as a matter of fact, the diagrams.
Wouldn't doubt it.
Who's gonna be in charge of watering them?
The contractor.
Really?
Yeah, we'll have a maintenance agreement with them for a following year. And then, fortunately, there have been multiple individuals from the city of Athens that have said, hey, when you get to that point, let us know how we can help. So we do plan on working with the city just to, and individuals who want to volunteer, just to, keep an eye on them and everything like that. But maybe after that, they can take over watering. But, yeah. Contractor will be responsible for all of that.
Did the board last night decide when they're actually gonna open that up to the public
I think June. Oh, the property.
property?
As soon as we can kind of get some of the problem areas of the equipment cost, passable on foot, then that is the plan, to open it up. And then people can go exploring and stuff, but right now you might end up, losing a boot or something if you go out in some of the areas. We just wanna make sure that's cleaned up a little bit.
You're not gonna put gravel or anything on a trail or anything, or?
Yeah, we're gonna have
We
to.
are?
We're not gonna like limestone or gravel the entire thing, it's just some of the problem areas we're gonna have to do something with. Just so that way it's passable. Yeah.
Okay.
I also want to mention, we talked about it at the Farm Bureau meeting, the scanning project between Lex's office and mine. So we are going to share that link out on the county website, so people can go in and look up section, township, and range, the land, lots, all that, and the old supervisor minutes. And then when she's done redacting some of that information, because we have birth records and all that stuff, so she's got her work cut out for her to redact some of that private information, but I
It
think it'll
might
be,
take some time going back as far as it's going.
yeah, 1880s, or 1860s, I should say, yeah. It's amazing, but like I said, those books never left our possession while they did this project,
Mhm.
so
Right.
we can always add more to it, and I think, didn't they quote you on the sheriff records one time too?
Yes.
But
You have to continue adding to the records, right?
you can, well, no, because now everything's digital and we just link it right in there.
Oh, okay.
Because as deeds and stuff get recorded now, it's already digital.
It's already, okay.
But like someday if I want to go scan all my election records, then it will be a searchable document too, so. And it's a fire backup, like if we ever lost the courthouse due to a fire or tornado, all these things will be archived off-site.
Offside, right.
And that was all funded with the ARPA money.
Is that about it?
Trying to kill time for you. What else should we talk about?
We might as well recess.
That's your motion?
I would make a motion that we go into recess until 10:15.
I'll second.
All right, call for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Team and I.
Bulls?
Oh, no, yeah. We'll just try to get through it, no. Try
Took us a while to get to the bottom of it, but we got to the bottom.
Yeah, right when I'm on the phone, he's like, oh, it should be this, he's like, yep, Deb just figured that out.
I didn't know how I ended up with it, because when he showed up down at the access point, he showed up with his POV and he just hopped down the bus. And he just grabbed
Read
the room.
this.
Good.
How do you feel?
I didn't even know.
Haley, thank you.
No meeting scheduled
Call
yet?
me and argue with me
With
about where I
Cal?
was at.
Next week?
They didn't schedule yet.
Okay.
Oh,
He had to call me and argue with me about where I
they
was
have
at.
it, so be careful.
I said,
I can't-
Or vegetable?
I didn't look. He said, "Try a
It's
vegetable."
vegetable.
Can't afford to.
Yeah, apparently Charlie said they did peanut oil one year.
It's all expensive.
Somebody with an allergy.
There's something.
But all that was expensive.
Weird.
Yeah. Fritz came out and was looking
So, yeah, I don't know.
at some of our stuff, I don't know why, because they're with the Legion there, but he said they only do 100 pounds fish, we have 400 we had this year,
Wow.
Do they have another one this weekend?
Friday.
So then, could you give them like,
Yeah,
Did I say that? Is that what I said?
Norway
Well, it
Legion
looks like
had
I'm eating
fish.
fish Friday.
Right when COVID hit, they had all this fish in
Maybe we'll have the baked
free.
potato.
I just have the sides, I do not like.
They were
the
selling that stuff,
I don't eat fish.
pennies on the dollar.
Was it worth it?
My neighbor's
I don't know why,
officer was in charge of that.
Yeah.
And then when he passed away, I was giving a lot of your members a hard time about it. Well, they were trying to talk me into taking his place. I said, I furnished the cookers for you guys, that was enough.
That was good, yeah. Yeah, they don't do it anymore.
Yeah, I know.
my mom always fried
No-
smoked
Nobody's
right
taking
there.
it.
So,
And it was just a hassle.
I had smelled
It was always
it.
But you guys had to make money though, I mean.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
400 people they feed, you know.
Yeah, there was no carrot out.
Smell like grease.
There was a lot of
I
stuff.
tried it twice.
No.
Haley,
Just out of the-
What's that?
can I get a motion to come back?
I'll make a
There you go.
motion to
There you
come
go.
out of recess.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Well, guys, while you were all invited here today, we've been pushing a pencil here for the last couple weeks, trying to figure this all out. According to what's kind of come to our attention on this, we're about $6 million short from the revenue coming in compared to what we could actually spend.
Worst
So,
case scenario.
Yeah,
Yeah.
worst case.
Yeah.
So what we kind of come up with here is everybody's gonna take a reduction in their budget. But it's not gonna affect wages, it's not gonna affect IPERS, any of the insurances. It's only, after all that is subtracted, our auditor did all the work for us to figure the figures out.
I have some at home. I didn't
And
get
it's
your email on that.
what I would call the services that you're providing is what it's gonna affect. And what we're going with is 2.5% reduction.
I'll find hers then. There goes that. Mhm. Thank you. Conservation. I was gonna say.
I think I got everybody. We can do one for the supervisors.
Oh, yeah.
Any questions?
I did mine already. She's got it.
Yeah. Barb did reach out. And you told them the 2.5, right?
You only want me to go 2.5 or I can go 5?
Nope, 2.5.
2.5. 2.5. It's fair across the board for everybody.
Everybody has the same.
Nope, don't go the 5, go the 2.5.
Couple things on your side though that we don't know about is the tower that they're gonna, if he comes and start working on.
Yeah,
And then, the water line out here.
yeah, but like on mine, I misfigured on my utilities, I could cut that back quite a bit actually.
Okay,
I figured like,
Utilities came in cheaper this year than what we thought they were going, quite a bit cheaper, so.
right, because of the boiler.
Well, this was just the lights and the water. We figured high when they were talking all them high rate increases, I think we got a little too high. so.
I think the sheriff is getting hit with the utilities, aren't you?
So that was my question. So we went through my budget literally line by line. We pulled out all the fluff. I mean, if you guys would ask me to cut mine by 2.5 at the beginning of the year, could have done it. I mean, we've done that. I don't know where you would like us to cut 27, almost 28,000. I mean, you can look at it if you want to show me where you think I can cut. And that's something with our budget, we're probably gonna give back 2.5, but these numbers are moving targets, so utilities, phones, I mean, stuff like that, we're probably gonna give back money at the end, you know? Well, obviously we are. But if you guys have some ideas, you can go through this line by line and show me. I mean, we're almost to the penny on benefits, everything.
But that's taken out. That 29, what's yours?
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is, back when I took over, there was a lot of fluff in the
There's a lot of
benefits.
money in there.
And we got rid of all that. We got rid of all the fluff. I mean, you can see all the, I mean, we went through all the lines, I mean, all the IT stuff.
We have actually even talked about that.
I mean, we gave back, I mean, we've taken out hundreds of thousands of dollars of IT stuff. So, can we back it up and you put all that back in there, and then you have me take out the 2.5? I mean, that's, because we've already done that.
Well,
We
that's
went through the
what we're,
budget line by line with Haley, literally line by line, 4 or 5 times.
We understand, but you gotta look at our point.
Yeah, but I understand your point, but you're telling me, I mean,
It's kind of like rewarding those who haven't been fiscally responsible and really honing in on their budget, and then punishing those who have been very honed in and getting it down to the nitty-gritty. Right, you found that over here.
what you're asking us to do, we've already done. We did that when we could have left everything the way it was and asked for more money. We didn't do that. We cut everything that we could out of there. So like I said, you go through this and you take out everything, you know, the wages and everything, you show me where you would like me to cut. We don't, it's lights, it's power, it's food for the inmates. I mean, we don't just have fun money to throw around. So, like I said, we'll do it, but I don't know how. Like I said, let's go back to before we cleaned it up, and then we'll cut that. We can cut 20, we probably cut 20%, honestly, if you look at everything.
For my budget, if you wanna roll the dice, I've got 2 vehicles that might not get paid for next fiscal year, that's $100,000. But what if I do get those buses? Then you do an amendment then? Cause there's a good chance they won't be paid for until next fiscal year. That's $100,000. But if they do come in, they gotta be paid for.
But you don't know when they're gonna come in though, right?
Nope. It was 1.5 to 2 years when we ordered them, and that was about 2 months ago.
Have you taken into consideration the end of the year here, where we shouldn't be dumping our budgets? Has there been an edict about that?
Well, we haven't sent an email out on that to remind everybody
Oh, I was waiting for guidance.
not to start spending here in June.
Just wondering.
because next year, we know already we're gonna be held to a lower amount. We're held to 2% next year.
Going forward, at least for that housebound. The tax reform bill.
And then we've got some other things that have come into play. As far as money that we're guaranteed to come in. Some of it's gonna go down and the county just, we have to eat it.
The worst thing is after we looked at everybody's budget, and you all did a very good job of trying to get it as close as you could to the bone, we're still $6 million over. I mean, we can't go into a new fiscal year $6 million behind the 8 ball. It just, I said it the other day, the taxpayers will come in here and they'll be playing pin the tail on the supervisor. We gotta do something to try to bring this down. We just can't, we can't have a $6 million matzo ball hanging out there. We just can't have that. And we know that a lot of these things that are in here are spending authorities that we have to put in the budget. Otherwise, you can't spend the money. If you got a grant coming in, we've looked at all that stuff to the point where I didn't know what numbers I was looking at after a while. There were so many floating around, but.
One question I have too is, knowing that, last week you approved a new position in an office that had never been here before, and that's costing extra money. That money that was approved last week for that new position would have taken care of my 2.5%. So I'm not sure why we create new positions and approve that so quickly, and then ask us to cut budgets.
That particular position was actually approved back in December. It was put in the budget. And that is a position that, here's another piece of this that a lot of people probably don't know anything about, is the mental health changes that are coming. And we still don't know.
I'm referring to the training coordinator for the county.
Oh, different jobs, sorry.
It wasn't a lot of money, but like I said, that would have taken care of my 2.5%. And I cut my budget before the first time I brought it to you. I did like Dave and Shelby, went through it and cut over 60,000 out from the previous year. So I don't have much room in mine either, unless you want me to take the vehicles out and take a gamble.
We're just trying to make it fair across the board. That way we're not picking on one.
Entity, one department.
I mean, like, not to be picking on him, Ben's got a new project going on. He really don't know what's that gonna entitle to.
So do you want us giving back 2%, 2.5 at the end? We can probably do that. Like I said, a lot of these numbers, like this year, we'll probably give back, I'm sure give back money to the board, I mean, you want us to cut it now or at the end?
We would like to cut it now.
So what do we do with, so if I have money left over, do I get spending authority on that then? If I have money left over at the end also?
No.
Well, that's the way that works.
We're just trying to avert next year's.
No, I
big
get
headache.
it, I totally get it.
Because what we had talked about was, okay, we can go with what we've got this year and take it all next year. And we just believed it would be easier to take 2 small bites rather than 1 big bite.
Question I have, did we look at what I call the feel-good money that goes out closely?
We cut some of them too.
Some? Because I think that should go before trying to balance on the backs of the,
We cut some of them.
but obviously not enough.
Well, not $6 million worth.
I don't know, but there's, right, I mean, are you gonna ask them back in to do a little more trimming?
Well, we already trimmed them back.
That's a little growl, in case you didn't hear it. I'm not sure about that.
In one group, we cut 20 grand off it. I don't remember which one it was off the top of my head.
EDG?
Was it?
I guess that's what we're looking at, Dave, you know, whether to leave the budget as is, what was everybody presented, and then next year, you know, I have no crystal ball, but it's not good this year. Next year's gonna be worse.
Yeah, if it doesn't get cut 2.5%, and I get why everybody feels the way they do, what does the cut end up being next year? Like if it's not 2 bites, like what you were saying, it's just one big one next year, what does that look like?
If I had to project, I'd say somewhere between 8 to 12%.
Based on what we know at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like crystal ball, obviously, but 2.5% compared to 8 to 12.
With that being said, we'll have to lay off and freeze wages. If you want us to cut 12%.
We don't know that, that's.
We don't,
I'm just saying.
we don't know that, but I mean,
That's why we wanna do this now. What we're asking you to cut out of this year, the wages and all benefits, this does not affect any wages or any benefits.
But then you gotta look at if you're cutting, going down line items, then it could be services that you're,
that's what we're cutting.
you know, services. And so then who makes the decision, I'm assuming you, of what services are offered and not, and not? I mean,
That's up to the department heads.
So if they do 2.5% this year, again, crystal ball, next year, what does that potentially look like next year? I mean, is that like, so if it's 12%, if we did nothing this year and it's 12% next year, I'm just rough math, then would it be like 10% next year? If it's like, no, if we cut 2.5% this year, get things balanced, then we're looking at maybe 3% next year. Again, crystal ball, but will it be significantly less extreme next year if we are proactive right now?
That'll help.
That's the plan. That's why we just,
If we can get,
So it won't be quite a heavy
if we can get
blow.
as big of turn back to the county at the end of this fiscal year as we can. So we're asking people to be conservative. And we already know the budget's tight going forward. We're hoping we can keep this as small as possible. Instead of trying to take it all at once in 1 year. Haley, you've got 2 numbers on here. We're guaranteed that next year.
No, this is current year.
Oh, that's current year.
Because we were restricted in that levy rate, that's what we didn't generate, both those numbers.
And then there's a number over here.
Yep, those are the 2 levies,
So we're,
because we were forced to reduce.
then we're gonna be close to that next year, those numbers.
If we have more than a 2% valuation growth.
Okay.
This is not gonna be popular, but I'm just gonna say it. Would it, so I know raises were all over the place. Does it need to have everybody get the same amount versus all over the place? I mean, I don't know how big of a chunk that changes things. So does that reduce, we did say 3% across for everybody. Then does that change the 2.5 that everybody else has to take out of theirs? Does it change that?
Not really,
Didn't know.
not really. This is why we
Don't
said,
stone me in the hall for those of you who are over 3%.
this is why we come up with this idea that we didn't touch wages or anything like that.
I just didn't know
It's
if wages got
basically
adjusted, if
services
that
is what's
affected the
gonna be
bottom.
cut, why I look at it. Now, there's some, budgets I noticed that they got furniture, you know what I mean? Line item for furniture. Well, to me, a lot of that, you could cut that out of that budget, you know what I mean?
One of the things that we ran into is we got an email the other day, last week, 2 weeks ago, doesn't matter, that Heartland, like on an insurance claim, Heartland, or whoever pays us, we're supposed to pay the bill, then they will reimburse us whatever. So rather than taking $500 out of our budget for the deductible and paying the deductible, we're taking the whole amount of the bill out of our budget, and that's several thousand. I mean, it's coming back, part of it's coming
But the
back,
spending authority has to be there.
but, so that changed our budget a lot. Because every time we have a claim now, we have to pay the whole claim instead of $500 worth of the claim or whatever. So all of a sudden then, that particular budget was over budget because we had to pay a really big building repair bill. And it's like, oops, now we're over budget. So that part of it is, that really changed things on our building maintenance budget.
I understand that, and I like picking on you guys out there, secondary roads. I look at it, you know, you're the worst one that got cut the worst at 2.5, so you're looking over 300,000 out of your budget. Me, I've been a big pusher, always keeping the new maintainers in the county. I look at it, all right, we're gonna have to skip a year.
Right, that amount
You
is
know.
one piece of equipment.
Right, for you guys, but I mean, you know, he's upset about a couple $1,000 out of your budget, that's 300,000 out of theirs. This is why we were trying to, as supervisors, make it fair across the board for everybody. That we just didn't pick on conservation, we didn't pick on, you know, anybody individual. It was fair across the board for everybody. That's what we were trying to get through. You know, like I said, we're $6 million short on this deal. It's $500,000 that we're gonna technically save if we can all work together on this. The other $500,000 is the unfunded, since the region and all that stuff and other things are gonna be gone. And when it goes to the region, we don't even know what's going on there. That's the big question mark. We can't get an answer for a supervisor. How can we figure out to have some money set aside for 1st of July for this new firm coming in to take care of the mental health in the county, and we know nothing? We can't figure it out. They won't give us any information. And I've been trying.
Great to have some information. We get bits and pieces, but, yeah. And I don't, so Dave, I know right now, like the region, I think covers jail meds. So did you have to put that back in come July 1?
I don't know how that's working, to be honest with you.
I think you pay it up front and we get reimbursed from the region currently.
Is that how it works?
So I just wanna make sure, because when he's looking at having to like cut 2.5, I
But it's
know that
not-
right now region reimburses and that's going away. So I
Not
wanna
for
make sure,
every
like,
inmate,
he's not
no.
having to cut more and then all of a sudden,
Well, that's under acute care.
Yeah,
Acute
it's
care.
of not every
yeah,
inmate.
not all the jail
It's
meds, but some.
specific
I
to
just-
what they're being
I just wanna make
treated
sure
for.
as he was cutting that it was one of those things that. Because yes, I know some of those things are gonna affect things like that.
And we've got some unknowns in here. One of them, and it has led to 2 or 3 budget amendments so far this year.
For which,
For our, we've got a juvenile problem.
for sure.
That's cost the county a pile of money, and that issue is back with us now.
She's back in
It
detention.
might be resolved.
That,
That's all I can really say.
yep. Another one that is a big unknown,
But we're still paying today.
we're still paying today.
Yeah,
We don't know. Another one that's a big unknown, that we've had to do some budget amendments on, medical examiner costs. We've had a bunch. And those, nobody in here can control those. They
Who
happen,
sets
we
the
have to pick.
fees? Who sets the fees? You guys? or is that what they require?
No, so like we get charged, so if we have a Benton County resident that passes away in Lynn County, they can charge us what their fees are.
So we have no say in it?
Same, we can go back and forth, but, yeah. The investigators get paid. If there's an autopsy, we have to pay that. I mean, there's just different scenarios in some of those. It depends.
County has to pay for all that.
We have a lot of property tax credits that we are giving a lot of people that we're not getting reimbursed for anymore either.
Correct. And homestead is gonna get
Mhm.
worse. We used to submit all those state credits to the state, and in return, they would prorate it and give us back a portion of that, but we no longer get that revenue replaced. So we've lost some revenue funding for sure.
Public won't stand for that, so you know how they are. That's gonna be tough. The public isn't gonna like that.
What? No, the public gets their credits.
Yeah, but,
I'm,
but we have to pay it
Yeah.
yes, we lose that in our
We lose
valuation
it.
base.
to make it good, so it, rock Peter to pole.
In the state legislation, there's talking about doing away with the rollbacks.
Yeah.
They might give everybody a 25,000 homestead credit off your taxes. I mean, we just don't know at this point what all's gonna happen.
Over 65 veterans?
Yep, and the military credit went up, exemption is more to the people,
Up to,
but yet, we don't get funding off of that.
I forget what it said, I was just reading.
No.
Business property tax credit, all that stuff changed.
So
Yeah.
this year is tough. Next year's gonna be worse. We're unfortunately preparing ourselves for the worst. We don't know, there's too many unknowns.
Basically, we don't wanna end up with some of our neighboring counties,
No.
what kind of bind they are in right now.
And if you have excess just in your budget, don't try and just spend it in June and July because there is no money coming in for the then bills. It's hard. I'm usually scrambling to go find money at one of the banks.
But we recommended that we have cash on hand for,
So our fund balance reserves, which right now we have good fund balance reserves, but worst case scenario, we'd like to have at least 25 to 30%. You know, if there was a freeze and Melinda couldn't collect taxes, we still need to operate and use that funding reserve to pay if we're not getting the tax dollars coming in. So,
we need,
We didn't come up with this lightly. We've been working on this for I don't know how many weeks now.
I took the percentages as far out as 8%. And 2.5 seems to be a number that we can make work this year.
When do you want these turned back in?
possibly before next week's public hearing, because I think that's when the public will be in here questioning the board, and they can have hard dollar amounts that they're reducing
Okay.
before we adopt the budget.
Is that next Tuesday? Byron will be back
I
on Monday, so
I know,
that's.
I talked to him, so what I can do is I can make the adjustments, you know, not line item by line item, but just the spending authority.
Okay. Next Tuesday's the 22nd.
And it's at 9:30, if anybody wants to come and see how those go. The maximum levy hearing was interesting, I'll put it that way. And the board was asked to show some homework to the public, so.
Well, I think that's about it for today, so can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll move that we adjourn.
I will second.
All in favor?
Tippit, aye?
Seaman, aye.
Bulls eye.
Thanks for coming, guys.